Fellas, do I have some news for you? This video is a little different. Um, Maybe some of you don't know this, or you may have already known this. I've known this for a while, but it's just something I've always kind of like brushed over. I didn't really mention it. But you're aware, let's start. You're aware of women's hypergamy, which means they will date or be in a relationship with someone that's equal to them on income earning potential or higher. Right? You're aware of that. So, with that out of the way, that means hypergamy is in women all over the world, globally. It's not just limited to the United States, right? You're also aware that women in the United States are looking to have a relationship with the top 20% of men in this country, the income earners in this country, and the other 80% are invisible to them. And I'm not just talking about the most beautiful women in the United States. I'm talking about the below average looking women too. Um, and even the below average earning women, right up to the multi-million dollar earning women, they're looking at the top 20% of men, right? You're aware of these things. If you are familiar with a lot of my videos, you can go and look at them and refresh yourself if you forgot. But I'm big on MGTOW, men going their own way. For the purpose of this video, I will limit it to the three things I keep talking about. You need to have to be in place. You're focusing on yourself for your own self growth, to have your own career, your own place, and be financially stable. Again, your own career, your own place, like your own house or your place where you live, and be financially stable. Those three things combined should give you lifestyle where you have both time and money. You'll have money because you're financially stable, and you have the time to enjoy or utilize that money for whatever purpose, pleasure, business, whatever it is. You have time and money. You have time to enjoy your money that you've worked hard for, right? That's my limitation for this video for MGTOW, a MGTOW mindset. If you want to see some of the other things, look at my other videos. I go into more details there, right? If you haven't thought about it, get your passport. You've seen some of my videos where I talk about that too. Having a MGTOW mindset and having your passport goes hand in hand, especially when it comes to relationships. A lot of MGTOW men kind of ended up in MGTOW due to relationships that end badly, divorce and all that stuff, and kind of like fell into MGTOW more with a level of bitterness and some envy, some rage, things like that. However, if you've been able to build yourself, a lot of those things should be alleviated or eliminated. Some people say go to therapy and all that stuff. Fellas, we do therapy a little different. We talk to each other. We look at videos and disagree and agree with some of the things we see amongst ourselves. So, but if you want to do therapy, by all means, try it out. Because I do therapeutic foster care, I've done some therapy stuff, but I don't really see a benefit to it so much for men, because we don't have, most of the times our emotions are not really hanging on our sleeves like that. We think logically, and we're problem solvers, so a lot of those issues are usually resolved internally, and those that we can't resolve internally, we kind of bounce it off of our homeboys, and basically gets like this quick feedback that we could apply to ourselves and see if that works, if it doesn't, and we deal with things. So you want to be able to have the MGTOW mindset, and you have your passport, and here is why. I already spoke to you about the 80% of men who are invisible to to most, if not all, women in the United States. So, with the passport, what it allows you to do is make yourself available to the rest of the world. And when you make yourself available to the rest of the world, you would find that if you're in the United States, if you're in the United States and you're making, what was the average, $38,000 a year now? If you're making that, you're considered in the 80 percentile range by women who would find who you are invisible to, right? That's where you fall in that range. You're not in the top 20% of income earners. However, with that passport, you just open yourself up to the rest of the world. Your income doesn't change, but now you have the passport and you're available to the rest of the world. What does change, though, is that you're now in the top 1% of earners in the entire world. Just because you live in the United States making, I think it's a minimum of $34,000 a year after tax. So if you're making $34,000 a year after tax in the United States, or anywhere in the world, if the equivalent is 34,000 USD after tax, you're now in the top 1% of the world earners, right? So now, because you've expanded yourself and hypergamy is everywhere, you now have access to a larger pool of women. And not only do you now have access to a larger pool of women, you're accessing these women knowing now that you're in the top 1% of earners in the entire world. Right? So you're not broke, you're not dusty, you're none of those things, especially if you have your own place, your own job, and you're financially stable. If you have those things in place, you're not broke or dusty. Granted, if you're living on like $34,000 a year here in the United States, it's a little, because of the price ratios and stuff like that, it's a struggle. But it doesn't change the fact that you're in the top 1% of income earners in the entire world. 50% of the top 1% earners in the entire world is in the United States. The other countries combined is about 50%, maybe a little more. But you have to combine Germany, France, Italy, United Kingdom, Canada, Korea, Japan, Brazil, Switzerland, Australia, Spain, Taiwan, Singapore, China, all these places combined. You have to combine those places to match the United States as far as the number of people, the income earning potential to be in the top 1%. United States is by far the wealthiest country on earth. And you are part of that. So develop that MGTOW mindset, become a passport bro, and open yourself to the rest of the world where women are competing for you. And let the women in the United States compete for the top 20% of American men. And let the rest of the world compete for you. Which one you think? That's why in my other videos I say it's so much easier and so much more efficient to find women for a good time, if that's what you're into. I'm personally not into that sort of thing. And why it's so much more efficient to find a wife, which is more my speed, and which I found in 2 trips. Beautiful women are common everywhere in the world. Beautiful women are common here in the United States, but the women in the rest of the world are raised by their grandmothers and mothers to be wives. And feminism hasn't really attacked them yet or taken hold yet because they're not, life is tough where they're from. All right, life is tough. So there's no place for feminism there in those parts of the world. And if you're looking for a traditional wife, You're in the top 1% of income earners in the world. Why not expand your horizon to the world and have access to all these women? And you'll find that they're fit, feminine, friendly, young, and beautiful. Everything you're looking for, right? If you don't believe me, look at you can look up the stats online yourself, and you'll see that you're in the top 1% of income earners in the world if you're making $34,000 USD after taxes a year. And to me, that's good news. You're not dusty, right? You're not broke unless you're mismanaging your money. And you're the top 1% income earner. Now, women might say, in the United States might say, well, we make that kind of money too, no big deal. But the reality is men worldwide don't care about what a woman makes. And the ones that do will end up using that woman, because the women in their own country will treat them better as wives than American women, because American women were not raised to be wives. So get your passport, develop your MGTOW mindset, have in the sense of having your own place, your own career, and be financially stable. And then open yourself to the world. If you have any questions, ask it in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe. You all have a good day.